Next there. Ready? Yeah.
Good evening, Honorable Chair. Good evening, members of the media. Good evening, Chief Secretary of the President Cabinet, and good evening, Ministry staff. Welcome to this post-cabinet briefing. First, I would like to apologize for the delay in starting the press conference. Well, we're still enjoying Buenyanda. I'll hand you over to the Chief Secretary of the President Cabinet, Dr. Swanda, without taking much of your time.
Thank you, Secretary Mangwana, Honorable Minister and the Chair of the post-cabinet press briefing, and welcome members of the media. So without wasting our precious time, let me invite the Chair to give the press briefing. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary, and once again, I want to apologize for a late start. Today's cabinet was a long one, but we're happy you're here, and thank you, Permanent Secretary. This is the 16th post-cabinet press briefing, and we want to thank you for the support all the time. The Cabinet received an update on Zimbabwe's response to the COVID-19 outbreak. This report was received from the Deputy Chair of the COVID-19 Outbreak Task Force. That's Professor Murwira, Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development. As of 25th May, which is yesterday, 2021, Zimbabwe's cumulative COVID-19 cases stood at 38,706, with 36,517 recoveries and 1,587 deaths. The recovery rate stands at 94.3%, with 95.5% of COVID-19 positive cases being attributable to local transmission. The number of active cases stands at 602. Cabinet wishes to confirm that the B.1.617 variant, which is prevalent in India, was detected in a localized outbreak in Kwekwe, and that as a result, the Honorable Vice President and Minister of Health and Childcare, Dr. C.D. Jane Chiwenga, announced a 2-week lockdown of Kwekwe, which started on Friday, 21 May 2021. During this lockdown, the following measures shall apply. 1, there will be a curfew which will run from 1900 hours to 600 hours in the morning. Then 2, no visitors to all boarding schools and all day schools. That is strictly, they have to, the all day schools will have to strictly observe COVID-19 schools protocols. 3, opening businesses will be done from 800 hours to 1700 hours. 4, there will be closure of all bars, drinking places, beer halls, and bottle stores. 5, there is a banning of all gatherings forthwith, and that all funerals must be supervised by health personnel with the number of people attending not exceeding 30. Government appreciates the quick response taken to control the spread of the variant and urges citizens who experience COVID-19 symptoms to quickly report to the nearest health facility. Concerning primary and secondary schools, Cabinet was advised that a total of 837 COVID-19 positive cases have been detected in schools since opening in March 2021. Total recoveries in schools stand at 796, leaving the number of active cases at 39, and this demonstrates the effectiveness of the surveillance system and control measures which have been put in place. Of special note is the fact that all the 31 additional samples taken from learners and staff at Goldbridge Primary School In Kwekwe, after the initial 3 positive cases previously reported, all of them were negative. Cabinet would like to reiterate that the COVID-19 pandemic is still with us. While every effort is being made to safeguard all citizens from the deadly pandemic, members of the public are urged to remain vigilant and observe all the World Health Organization protocols and our national guidelines in order to ensure that we overcome this threat. Then moving on to the progress report on the procurement and rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. The Vice President and Minister of Health and Childcare, Honorable C.G.D.N. Chiwenga, apprised Cabinet on progress made in the procurement and the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. As of the 25th May 2021, a total of 639,553 people had received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine and 288,437 their second dose, that is across the country. Government continues to urge the public to go to their nearest health facility to receive their COVID-19 vaccines so that the country achieves the required herd immunity in order to control the spread of this pandemic. Regarding vaccine procurement, the public is informed that delivery of the 500,000 Sinopharm vaccine doses, which were ordered from China, is expected to arrive in the country this June 2021. Cabinet takes this opportunity to advise that Zimbabwe was elected into the General Committee of the World Health Assembly. The main functions of the Assembly are A, to determine the policies of the World Health Organization, WHO, then to appoint the WHO Director General, and C, to supervise financial policies and to review and approve the proposed program budget. Meanwhile, the 74th World Health Assembly commenced on 24th May 2021 and will run virtually until the 1st of June 2021. The theme of this assembly is, and I quote, ending this pandemic, preventing the next, building together a healthier, safer, and fairer world, unquote. Then Cabinet received an update on the agriculture sector. The Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water, and Rural Settlement, Dr. Masuka, updated Cabinet on the status of the agricultural sector. Regarding the winter wheat and barley, in terms of preparation, Cabinet wishes to report that 3 facilities are in place, targeting 92,000 hectares and distributed as follows. The Presidential Wheat Scheme targets 10,000 hectares. The Command, which is the CBZ Agro Yield Scheme, is targeting 60,000 hectares. And the private sector support is targeting 15,000 hectares for wheat and 7,000 hectares for barley. A statutory instrument to restrict marketing of wheat and barley to contractors and GMB only is being drafted. The 2021 agricultural marketing season has generally progressed according to plan. Cabinet notes that a total of 152,924 tobacco growers were registered for the 2020-2021 tobacco season, compared to 158,800 for last season. Sales of tobacco have generally been firm, with good prices across all grades. Total tobacco export shipments for 2021 have reached 57.4 million kilograms as at 19 May 2021, compared to 67 million kgs shipped during the same period last year. Tobacco export revenue now stands at US dollars 235 million kgs compared to US 231 million the previous year. Regarding preparedness for the 2021-2022 season, Seed sales of tobacco to date are 74,650 grams compared to the same time last year. They've moved up. Measures are being put in place to facilitate value addition of tobacco before exporting, and this will be doing to maximize on the proceeds from tobacco. Government is also reinforcing discipline in the tobacco sector, and over 60 illegal buyers have been arrested. Also, the tobacco value chain to transformation strategy is nearing completion. The main focus of the strategy are as follows: growers' production to increase to 300 million kgs, combating deforestation, localizing financing of production, increasing value addition and beneficiation, and growing alternative crops. Pertaining to cotton marketing, the nation is advised that the 2021 cotton marketing season commenced on the 18th of May 2021. Cabinet noted with concern the continued failure to pay farmers for cotton delivered to COTCO. And thus, Cabinet has decided to institute measures to increase government shareholding in COTCO to at least 51% in tandem with its contribution in the company and apparent support to farmers, and the need to spur rural industrialization. To this effect, government will be paying farmers directly. On a related matter, Cabinet further agreed that government final shareholding in silo foods industries be increased to 74%, and this is to guarantee availability of the 7 basic commodities. On livestock production, there's increase in beef, sheep, and pork slaughter, and that has been noted, largely reflective of the good rains and improved feeds. Milk production is creeping up. By June, production levels will be similar to 2020 levels. Varying interventions by the dairy sector have been devised to ensure growth. Foot and mouth diseases vaccinations are continuing in high-risk areas. The cumulative cattle vaccinated to date stand at 186,193. The cumulative deliveries of tick grease to GMB depots are 769,947 kilograms against a target of 1 million kgs. And we talked last time that we would like to inform all those farmers who are into livestock to access to this presidential tick grease. The cumulative total of beneficiaries is 686,971 farmers. Then on water resources, irrigation development, in water sanitation, health and pollution coordination issues, the nation is advised that there is sufficient water for the envisaged irrigation this winter and summer. The national dam storage levels are at 91%, above the 71.2%, which is normally expected at this time of the year. Agriculture remains the biggest water-using sector in the country, with an approximate usage proportion of 82%, followed by usage of water for urban and industrial users, which stands at 14%. Major dams set for commissioning are Chivu Dam and Gwai Shangani Dam. A total of 378,376 hectares are targeted for irrigation by 2024. On water and sanitation, the cumulative number of drilled and rehabilitated boreholes is 1,507 for this year. Tendering is in progress for the purchase of 10 rigs for the Presidential Horticultural Scheme, initially targeting 3 boreholes per ward in 2021. And moving on to the report on the tripartite negotiating forum, The meeting was held on 22nd April 2021. Cabinet considered a report on the tripartite negotiating forum, the meeting which was held on 22nd April 2021. In this report was presented by the Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Professor Mavima. Cabinet was informed that the meeting was convened to provide feedback to the tripartite negotiating forum, that is the TNF, regarding cabinet position on the issue of wages and salaries. The nation is advised that government emphasized the need to strengthen the sectoral determination of salaries and wages through NECs, as well as maintain the stability of the economy and the prevailing foreign currency auction system. Cabinet agreed to the proposal that the TNF Technical Committee conduct a study to establish the appropriate sector wages and salaries relative to the poverty datum line. Also, capacity utilization and productivity levels across all sectors. The resultant report should guide further engagement on the issue of wages and salaries. The TNF was encouraged to address outstanding agenda items beyond the issues of salaries and wages. Cabinet received an overview of the National Development Strategy, NDS1, the first quarter performance report for 2021. Cabinet considered and approved the overview of the NDS1 first quarter performance report for 2021 as presented by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Professor Mutuli Ncube. The report is an overview of the progress made in the implementation of the National Development Strategy 1's 14 national priority areas. The comprehensive review exercise was conducted for the National Monitoring and Evaluation Joint Review Committee. Cabinet notes that in general, the first quarter NDS1 implementation report demonstrates that positive performance has been realized in spite of adverse exogenous shocks, especially those emanating from the COVID-19 pandemic. The current state of macroeconomic conditions suggests that an increase in aggregate demand will increase consumption without provoking uncontrollable inflationary torrents. Significantly, local brands now dominate supermarket shelves. Furthermore, there's a rebound in Zimbabwe's industrial capacity utilization rates, averaging about 47% from as low as 20%. Sectoral highlights include a decline in annual headline inflation from 654% to 194%, and a positive fiscal budget balance for the first quarter in the economic growth and stability sector. And in the food and nutrition security priority area, attainment of food security is on target following the good rains which were received during 2020-2021 cropping season, that were buttressed by the implementation of the Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy, epitomized by the Presidential Input Scheme, that is Pfumvudza in Twasa concept. Regarding the pillar on moving the economy up the value chain and attainment of structural transformation, it is pleasing to note that industrial capacity utilization in 2021 is set to surpass the 50% target and rise to 61%. And this is according to CZI, Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries. Concerning infrastructure and utilities, significant progress was registered in road infrastructure rehabilitation under the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program, ERRP2, which was being implemented in all provinces, with a target of putting 3% of the road network in good condition, and that has been met. In particular, the first quarter target of upgrading and widening the Harare-Masvingo Beit Bridge Highway has been achieved. Generally, progress in the sector was hampered by, among others, vandalism of equipment, electricity distribution equipment, obsolete equipment, and shortage of foreign currency to embark on new projects, as well as completion of outstanding projects. In housing delivery, a total of 569 housing units were constructed and completed, and this is out of a targeted 2,000 units for the quarter. The COVID-19 induced lockdown adversely affected the construction industry, which was declared a non-essential service during the beginning of the year. And on the digital economy, a surge in demand for ICTs was recorded as citizens, business, and education resorted to digital platforms in order to access various services, including delivery of learning modules following the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. Moving on to the human capital development and innovations pillar, there we saw a total of 45 qualification standards, skills proficiency schedules, and course regulations reconfigured to Education 5.0 against a target of 35. Further, 8 public service academy modules were developed and validated. Related to this, the health and well-being pillar has been stability being recorded. We've seen stability being recorded within this sector in all critical areas following the launch of the health sector turnaround plan. The resurgence of the COVID-19, particularly the second wave, which was more fatal at the beginning of 2021, also triggered new efforts by government to effectively manage the pandemic. On the image building, international engagement and re-engagement, governance, youth, sport and culture, social protection, and environmental protection, climate resilience, and natural resources management, also these performed very well. However, progress in the devolution and decentralization sector has been minimal due to delayed finalization of the requisite legal framework, with full implementation of the devolution and decentralization policy awaiting promulgation of the Provincial Councils Act. There is also need to speed up the reform of state enterprises and parastatals, since the performance of these entities significantly impacts the economy. The public is advised that the process of reviewing implementation during the second quarter of the respective priority areas of the NDS-1 is already underway. The momentum established during the first quarter should be sustained in order to yield better results during the second and subsequent quarters of 2021. The required gross national income per capita of between US 4,125 and US 12,736 by 2030 can only be achieved through constant consolidation of gains scored. The GNI for 2020 was US dollars 1,155, and the projected figure for 2021 is US dollars 1,835. This reflects a 60% growth rate. Going forward, implementation focus will be directed towards high-impact targets that will transform the livelihoods of the citizenry, guided by careful identification of the measurement criteria for targets and outcomes. Through the whole-of-government approach, thematic working groups will develop local indicators that are relevant to the local environment. Furthermore, compilation of provincial development plans will be accelerated with a view to promoting the rapid development of local economies. And moving on, Cabinet received proposals on the rationalization of subsidies. Cabinet considered and approved proposals on the rationalization of subsidies as presented by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor Mutsvangwa. The nation is informed that, consistent with the overarching goal of the NDS-1, it has become necessary that a guiding framework with regard to subsidies be established, and such framework should ensure that subsidies meet a specific public policy objective, which is to remedy an identified market failure and also of minimum size necessary to achieve such an objective. Noting that previous economic blueprints, albeit with similar targets, have fallen short on implementation, NDS-1 is premised on the need for bold and transformative measures that will ensure achievement of the country's vision of an empowered and prosperous upper middle income society by 2020. This framework is set to steer the economy on a growth trajectory averaging 5%, supported by a sustainable annual fiscal deficit target of around 1.2% of GDP, exchange rate stability, and single-digit inflation. Strict adherence to the framework provides the pathway to the attainment of Vision 2030. This requires discipline and dedication by all stakeholders to achieve the above macroeconomic targets, including realigning our public finances that have been the major source of instability in the market. Unmitigated and unbudgeted subsidies will need to be curtailed going forward, as these will undermine government's fiscal consolidation objectives under NDS-1, whilst also crowding out critical developmental expenditures. Subsidies that are being provided will have explicit identified funding sources with costs adequately quantified to determine fiscal sustainability. Government has supported the agricultural sector with a subsidy component on both inputs and specific crop producer prices. Mainly, this was done to address food self-sufficiency, improve the welfare of the peasant farmers, and make meal affordable to our disadvantaged groups. Currently, government is financing several programs in the agricultural sector, including farm mechanization, inputs, and selling price support. Crops under such support include maize, soya, beans, cotton, and wheat. Government targets to provide input support for the vulnerable households to the tune of Zimbabwe dollars 4 billion for grain production under the presidential input schemes, while banks are providing funding for the Command Agriculture Program for the 2020-2021 farming season. Government has continued to support the productive sectors of the economy by extending tax concessions, and this is a way of improving viability, productivity, and competitiveness. As a result, government has forgone about US $2.3 billion through tax incentives during the period 2011 to May 2019. The establishment framework should meet the following guiding principles. 1, explicitly budgeted and quantified for and approved through the annual estimates of expenditure, that is the budget. Then 2, time-bound except for those meant for social protection programs. Then 3, rigorous monitoring with their cost being regularly quantified, along with an evaluation of their benefits. 5, do away with all subsidies that are creating distortions in the economy and use targeted approach so as to make sure that those benefiting from the subsidy are those originally targeted, and according to those who need them, and not to industries or individuals who can actually operate profitably without that support, unless their activity has substantial positive outcomes for the society. We move on to state of preparedness for hosting the 61st edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Dr. Sekai Nzenza, apprised Cabinet on the status of preparations for hosting of the 61st edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, which is scheduled to be in Bulawayo from the 20th to the 23rd of July 2021. It will be running under the theme, and I quote, showcasing the new normal for business and industry, realities and opportunities, unquote. The fair will be held in accordance with National and World Health Organization COVID-19 guidelines. The major thrust is on finding innovative and sustainable business models to ensure continuity during and after the pandemic. The ZITF 2021 exhibition diary is as follows. 20th to the 22nd July 2021 will be business days. Then 21st July 2021, that's the International Business Conference. 22nd July, it will be the official opening ceremony. Then the 23rd July 2021, ZITF Charity Golf Challenge. And on the 23rd July 2021, Public Day. As at 20 May 2021, 46,309 square meters out of 49,877 square meters in the exhibition space that has already been booked, taken. 395 companies have expressed interest in exhibiting at ZITF 2021, and 94 of those companies, they are already leaseholders, and 52 are new exhibitors. A total of 9 countries have confirmed their participation at the fair, while engagements with other nations are ongoing. The exhibitor profile is varied, with a range of products and services, including the following: agricultural implements and equipment, automotive products, building and construction, clothing and textile, food product manufacturing and processing, tourism, business products and services, information communication technology, pharmaceuticals and chemicals, and mining equipment. Highlights of the main activities of ZITF 2021, as I have said, includes the official opening of ZITF, and there will also be the Zimbabwe Diplomats Forum and Innovators Forum. It's also pleasing to note that 105 participants have registered to participate, as I have already said, with 52 having already paid. The Zimbabwe Diplomats Forum will be hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in conjunction with the Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency, ZIDA, and is aimed at engaging locally based foreign diplomats on government's ongoing measures to facilitate investment. This is the first time that the forum is being hosted at the ZITF. Cabinet is pleased to announce that the ZITF 61st edition will be officially opened by His Excellency, the President, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, on that day, 22nd of July 2021. Then there will be the Bulawayo Arts Festival from the 2nd to the 5th June 2021. Cabinet received and adopted a report on the 2021 Bulawayo Arts Festival, and this was presented by the Minister of Local Government, Public Works, Honorable July Moyo. Cabinet advises that the inaugural Bulawayo Arts Festival was digitally launched in 2020, reaching audiences in 45 countries. This year's festival is scheduled to be held from the 2nd to the 5th of June 2021. The main festival, which will be largely will remain digital due to COVID-19 control measures, will feature two main high-profile programs, namely the launch of the Bulawayo Urban Heritage and Economic Tourism Program and the Creative and Cultural Industry Conference. Government is pleased to announce that His Excellency the President will officiate at this event. This demonstrates the Second Republic's commitment to the promotion and development of the creative and cultural industry. Then we move on to a report on the implementation of National Biometric Database for the production of e-passports, national identity cards, and birth certificates. Cabinet considered and approved the proposed engagement of a private partner in the implementation of a national biometric database for the production of e-passports, national identity cards, and birth certificates. The partnership will increase the passport production capacity to 4 million units per year, resulting not only in the clearance of the current backlog, but also meeting the daily demand and enabling the country's embassies also outside to issue passports to Zimbabwean citizens abroad. This brings us to the end of the post-cabinet briefing today, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for such a comprehensive, inspiring